So uncivilized.
You know what it is. Uncivilized Scoundrels, Thursday night. We here to talk about Star Wars every day, all day. But particularly tonight, because like we've been talking about behind the scenes, this is going to be about Andor. It's an Andor discussion. We got two other things we want to talk about too and address. But we're going to talk about the Andor discussion in just a few moments, and how we may feel that this deserves some Emmy Award. We got some Emmy Award or Emmy Academy, and I would want to say Academy, but Emmy Award winning, Golden Globe Award winning, dialogue, acting, directing, potential here. Who knows what we'll get out of it, but I'm still super duper excited about what we will get. And I love this show, but again, can't do it without my Jedi Council themselves. I have them here with me. Mario will be in here in just a few. He's actually on another show, but I got two others in here ready to talk about it and ready to go in. We got my man Vendog. We got in the building. How are you two doing today?
Doing great. Glad to be here as always, talking about Star Wars.
Yes. So glad to have you here. How's your week been so far?
It's been busy, much busier than what I thought it was going to be, but I think things are kind of picking up because people are out more and they're doing more things, and it just means we're busier. So I'm just happy to be busy and just enjoying seeing Andor. This is like a miracle.
Yeah, definitely. Top notch. I mean, just amazing stuff that we're getting from it. And I'm super duper excited about it. Vinny, what's going on, man? How was your week? How's it been so far, brother?
It's been a good week. Been great weather. Been enjoying, the perks of global warming. These warm Novembers. I'll take it. While we're still here and not blowing up. But in the meanwhile, we'll enjoy nicer weather and Indian summers. Had a great week, and Andor was magnificent, especially the way it ended. So I can't wait to dive in and break it down. A lot of people are just ranting and raving about how amazing this show is, and I'm loving that we're lucky enough to have this on. This be blessed with this show, because it's something that's not the average show. It's amazing, and it's so beautiful to see people support the show the way it is, because it's so unconventional, and it's basically art house Star Wars, and it's really something I didn't think I'd ever really see in mainstream media, so to see it be so accepted and cherished the way it's been is such a great thing for the franchise, because it, once again, like we talk about a lot, we want to be able to see them branch out and try different things without feeling like they have to, figure out different ways to do the one thing that has, been their bread and butter. And this is the show has been a great example of that. This is a huge world, and the author spent 20 years going different directions in the books and was successful. And there's no reason why that can't be the case now. So I'm hyped to talk about it.
Definitely.
What up, Mario?
We got Mario, Jedi Knight, Jedi Master himself in the building. How you doing, brother? How you doing? I just saw you just like a few minutes ago.
I know, man, right?
Art of the Bootyology. You got to watch that show. If you didn't check Jay's show is not titled it's not titled Best of the Best tonight. Tonight it was titled The Art of Bootyology. I think
Cheeksology, man.
Oh wow.
Cheeksology. You would actually love
Cheeksology,
that.
I would have liked that.
Vinny would have too. You know what I mean?
Did you give any context in what we were talking about?
No, we were talking about the Prime One Catwoman statue.
Michelle Pfeiffer.
Yeah, Michelle Pfeiffer version, bro, and it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
When you see it, Well, you'll know why it was the subject, the topic at hand at that point was booty.
I like cheesecake.
Yep. Comes with a.
Why you say that with a straight face? How you say it?
Yeah, she's looking at us like, why are you
It's
laughing?
like it's nothing. Like it's yeah.
Oh, yeah, dude. Art room for the win.
For the win.
Dude.
For the win. For the win. Yo.
Comes with a bowl of milk and everything. You gotta love it.
You gotta love it. Mario, what's going on with you, brother? What's going on?
Nah, I'm doing good, man. Just hanging out, man. I mean, yeah, just it feels like I haven't been here in a while, and I missed y'all last week, and I'm just happy to be back tonight talking Star Wars and everything else we're going to discuss tonight.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, I didn't hear what you think about Tales.
Tales was dope. Oh my gosh, I loved it. There was some of the first couple episodes were like, it's all right. But the last two with the Ahsoka, man, oh my gosh, it was so good.
Yeah.
That Inquisitor that we saw.
Mm-hmm.
Like, can we talk spoilers?
Yeah,
we already did last week.
We already did last week to talk about.
Okay, all right,
I was waiting to hear what you thought, bro.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, the relationship that we see with Anakin and Ahsoka right now, man. The way he goes in there, that was a nice little little training exercise. But let me show you how to really prepare yourself, for the actual real world. Yeah. I love that. That was such great, that was such a good opportunity, and I loved to see that chemistry between them and how she was just so, determined. She has that, that spirit, like, you know what, this ain't gonna stop me. I'm just gonna get up and keep going in. We saw the same moves that she pulled out that eventually saved her life during Order 66. We saw those exact same moves that she did. She was prepared for it, bro.
Yeah.
But what was cool to see is that we saw Padme's funeral and all the extras that went along with it, with Bail Organa being there, Ahsoka was there in the back. I'm like, that was pretty cool, man.
Yeah.
And then we see where she goes, and she's just hiding out for a little bit. But then when that Inquisitor shows up, I love that design.
Yeah.
I want that figure, whether it be a figure, whether it be a statue, or it be something.
Yeah.
I need a representation of that particular Inquisitor in the collection. I loved it.
Yeah. They said it was supposed to be the sixth brother. So that's the way it was.
I didn't think they said who it was at all.
No, it wasn't.
No,
it wasn't. It wasn't the sixth brother, but because in the books itself, it was the sixth brother that she encountered.
Okay.
But in this one, it's a totally different iteration.
Speaking of the books, I heard a couple people complain about it veering off from the book a little bit, and it looked like maybe they left a bunch of stuff out. But what in the show that would have been a change from what they had her do in the book? So, it looked like obviously there's a big gap that they didn't address, but I'm not aware of something that seems very off pace for what she went through in the book, because I've only just heard briefly what goes on in the books.
Well, a lot of it was her. So, for instance, it sort of retconned her appearance here. Sort of basically retconned Revenge of the Sith in a sense because of the funeral and how that was, and also, again, it was the sixth brother who she encountered. It was the same interaction. She was still that powerful, but it was that that was kind of retconned as well. Also because this was a totally different iteration. Also, when she was on that planet, she was a mechanic. How they basically found out that she was a Force user was totally different than what we actually saw. So that encounter had changed as well. So there was a couple of different things sprinkled around about.
Because I still got to read that, but people were complaining that they changed it, and I'm like, it looks like they didn't really show much enough for there to have been anything changed. It looks like they just left it out. Yeah,
and the thing is, well, Filoni did basically talk. He did, there was a conversation that he had with the writer. You know what I mean? So they, it wasn't like he didn't have her blessings to make that change. You know what I mean? Like he basically had her direct blessings, and she honored the change for what it was. She definitely appreciated it, but it was a lot of things, that were actually changed. Like this. Yeah. So this, the design was incredible. Yeah. The design is definitely incredible, but this was a deviation from what we originally had. in the books itself, but it was still dope.
Mhm.
It was
Yeah,
still this was
absolutely.
so dope. This was so dope. And
He has a
again, I hope we
feel to him. I don't know why, but it
What'd you say?
feels Grievous-esque.
or General
That's a
Grievous type.
word.
Oh, uh-huh.
I mean, it feels that way. I don't know why he doesn't have multiple arms and things, but the mask just makes me think of Grievous for some odd
Yeah.
reason.
Yeah.
But it looks very good. I do love it.
Yeah, I love the simple fact that the cloak had the insignia on it, the way it billowed
Yeah.
again while he was fighting, but again it did demonstrate how powerful Ahsoka was. So that her power level was not a deviation from the books, because Ahsoka is powerful, and the thing is, it makes so much sense. There were a lot of people complaining, well, how is it that she can basically, that was in the books, and on top of that, she is that powerful because again she learned from one of the most powerful Sith Lords around. You know what I mean? So definitely it made perfectly good sense that she was able to do what she did. So yeah, there was a couple of retcons, but I mean it wasn't nothing that was too serious, man. And you have to understand that a lot of what they did in the deviations in this, you have each episode was only between like 13, 15, like 17 minutes or something like that. They can't tell that story. They have to.
That's the thing. Like, I get why. Yeah, like there's also people like, oh, she did so much more in between. It's like, yo, it was 6 episodes and only 2-3 of them were hers. What do you expect? It was it wasn't a movie. Chill.
Yeah.
But Mario, like, how dope was it that we've touched on, like, and we know how, being fans, how the Jedi aren't really like heavy on combat training. They're more like peacekeepers and philosophers, and they don't really rely on actual hand-to-hand training like the Sith do. As far as training to fight. And Anakin has always been like, nah, let's fucking spar for real, train for real. This we're not going to learn but so much in the simulation. Let's go out in the field. And I feel like that is what that fight and so was with, like, Anakin and Ahsoka just being so much more ready for war than so many other Jedi. And I love that. I would love to see maybe more insight into why Kenobi is so great a fighter despite being in that same philosophy too. Like, I know that there's some books where they talk about that he was rebellious and no one wanted him when he was younger because of his outlooks and his rebellion and shit like that, but it's nowhere near as played up as Anakin's. But there's something to that, like that will to actually go out there and fight and be so much more ready to go out there and actual battle and kill, that a lot of the other Jedi just were not ready for it. Because we see that a lot, especially in Clone Wars, how a lot of the other Jedi, when they got in trouble, it was not as impressive.
And that's what I liked about Anakin, man. He was so against the grain, when it came to the traditions of the Jedi, man, to where, and he passed that on to to Ahsoka. So those two really stood out. And I think what could have been dope is that if we see something like this again, I would love to see what they did with young Anakin going into teenage Anakin. So the gap in between episode 1 and episode 2. When it comes to his training and everything like that, I would like to see like what he went through, just to see if they can kind of flesh out his story a little bit, to where he ends up getting a little bit more, how he's more cocky, how he ends up, developing that kind of cockiness, how we see him, at the beginning of Attack of the Clones. But yeah, there's so many more stories that could be told, man. And I would just, I would love to see it all.
Definitely. And the thing about his interaction with Ahsoka, because if you think about it, like, even because there was even like moments in the books where they talk about, Vader's last encounter with Ahsoka, and how in his mind, even as evil as, how he became, he was conflicted, terribly conflicted, still balancing between the light and the dark, and it was being challenged. But in his mind, he knew that Ahsoka was the Jedi that he could never be. And she was the reflection of what he should have become because of her beliefs. But at the same time, even though she chose not to become a Jedi and she stepped away from it, she still believed in the good nature and where it takes you and how the Force should be. So, again, it's a testament to how even though, and we talk about it all the time, like, Anakin was really the chosen one. He was definitely the chosen one. He proved that in Return of the Jedi. But at the same time, Ahsoka embodied everything of all his beliefs before he was seduced by the dark side. But you know what? To be quite honest, like as much as I liked the way they told the stories, and tales, I liked Dooku's story a tad bit more. And the reason why is because it was the first iteration, the first time we actually got a chance to see his story from the beginning and his struggles and how much he really did care about, Qui-Gon. Like he really, really cared about Qui-Gon, and he was hurt, when he passed away. And we got a chance to basically see that he was the one who changed the codes and information that we knew, and also Sifo Dyas, everything that we knew about that. We got a chance to see that, and Yaddle. Man, I'm so interested in her more now. Like I just love that episode. It was incredible. And to really see how that played out. But that's what I'm saying. Like this show left you wanting so much more. Like it literally left you wanting so much more. To only have 6 episodes, and everybody that I know that I've seen so far is praising it because they love it that much. So I don't know what you think.
Well, I think we were lucky to get this right now because we have a major show that doesn't really have anything to do with Jedi in it, and we've always had something with Jedi in it pretty much. And for them to give us this, we're very, very lucky to get this, and also to have so many different Jedi stories in it. For example, looking at how the Jedi Council is and understanding that there is what I would call some kind of odd tension about getting on the council versus not getting on the council. The notion of someone stepping down from the council because they felt it was unfair. I think whatever is driving the council, it's not necessarily training other Jedi. It's something else, right? So now they're more focused on other things other than what's best for, the other Jedi they're taking care of. That's not the main focus anymore. And also, one other thing that I liked about it is just like you, they focused on Dooku, and we never got a chance to see how he was kind of coerced.
Yeah.
Doing these things. And of course, he gets coerced into doing things he doesn't want to do. He left the Jedi, let's say, order because he was doing things he felt were wrong and didn't want to do. So he's kind of in a rock and a hard place. He unfortunately, if there was a third option for him, I think it would have been more ideal, kind of step away from all of this. But I think that Palpatine, sees his potential. He's an elegant Jedi. He's just like this incredibly sophisticated, and he can see far beyond what's happening. But unfortunately, I don't think he had anywhere to go because the Jedi was all he had. And so when he walked away from that, it was hard to deal with it. We saw what Ahsoka went through when she, more or less was forced or made the decision to walk away from it. And it wasn't easy to figure out what she's going to do with the rest of her life. So you can imagine somebody as high profile as Dooku saying, I wasn't put on the council, all this stuff didn't happen. And Windu was honest. He says, look, they put me on the council, and the reason why they put me on the council was for this reason, but I'm going to speak to them and put in a good word for you, which a lot of people, he doesn't have to do that. I think Mace Windu can sense, because he has that special ability to sense dark side, or at least the presence of the dark side in a person, and kind of, know exactly what it takes more or less to understand what's going on, or the motivations behind someone having the desire to use the dark side or that power. But I think it's interesting because even Mace, now he's on the council, but someone's stepping down. I think it's very interesting to see that there was instability in the Jedi Council. It wasn't all sort of like perfect. Anakin wanted to be on the council. This person, Mace suddenly ends up on the council. A lot of questions are asked. I'm sure Anakin is like, I'm incredibly talented. Why aren't I on the council? These are normal questions that anybody would ask. And of course, the reasons are just, so many different reasons. But that council, I got to tell you, it's very, very problematic. And I think and Dooku realized that neither choice was the right one for him. I think that was the saddest part. And I'm not going to say that this is true, but when Anakin and Obi-Wan pretty much are at the point of defeating him, or is it just Anakin? It's almost like he has a relief from all of this, because he didn't seem like a happy, committed Sith. He seemed more, a little bit more on the fence here, right? This is a little different approach or a different opinion that Dooku is giving us. We haven't seen him like this.
Yeah, yeah. It's like a side of him that, literally when we look at it and we see it this way, the conflict, we look at him in a sense, well, were some of his actions really, really justified? Because he did also, and we know where the motivation came from, considering the simple fact that, his distaste for some of the morals, like the Jedi morals, and on top of that, like someone who he thought was more like a maverick, just like he was on the it was totally opposite. He assumed that, Mace might have been that maverick, might have been that one that, he could count on. And to come to find out that, he was just like, Mace was really, really reserved, like super reserved and held back. Like, yeah. It was crazy. Like, definitely that was insane.
And the other thing, I didn't mention this, is that Dooku, I'm kind of convinced that Dooku looked at Qui-Gon like he was his son, which is something I guess they're not supposed to do, but it seemed pretty clear that he was shaken and not himself. And that's why Yaddle kind of reached out to him, right? I mean, what do you guys think? I think she reached out to him because she could see how shaken he was by Qui-Gon's death at that point.
Yeah, I definitely think he was visibly shaken, but she knew that. I think she felt, with Yaddle, she did feel like she felt the resentment in Dooku. One of the reasons why he didn't attend the actual funeral, but she felt like there was a disturbance, within him. Like there was something else that was going on, and her following him the way she did. It was like, okay, we knew, like you knew there that I knew once she followed, her ship landed and she was there, she wasn't getting out alive. I really knew that. I was like, she's not getting out alive. It's as much as I would love for her to do it, she's not coming out alive. It's just terrible. It's not going to happen. But I enjoyed it. I definitely thoroughly enjoyed it. Man, I just need more. Like I want more. I mean, it's the perfect way to basically tell that story. I almost wish this came out on Christmas Day. Like literally, I wish this came out on Christmas Day. That would just make my Christmas so much better. But give us more of this. Vinny, something I wanted to actually talk to you about, because I know you are, you have to be excited about this news. With Ahsoka basically coming up, Dave Filoni did mention, and he did. Yep, he did confirm that Ahsoka is going to be more of a samurai show. You know what I mean? It's the samurai tales. They're going to tell, like, come on, they're coming from the white, Kurosawa is one of the best directors out there. That made those type of films, that gave you that type of feel. They're taking inspiration from that, and this is what we're going to see with Ahsoka. And when he said that, I was like, yes, this is what we need. This is basically what we need. He's taking elements from that and also the show back in the day called Shogun. And I was like, yes, that makes a lot of sense, and I like the path you're actually going. What did you think about that when you heard, V?
Yeah, we just literally talked about the martial arts, references and symbolism last week when we were talking about how Ahsoka has been portrayed in general. And we've seen it strongly in the Mando episode, where it was like, straight up homage to Kurosawa with the Shogun elements of the, not just the swords and confrontations, but also the shots that they use, the graininess, it was definitely a love letter to Akira Kurosawa. And as much as I believe that Filoni kind of has more maybe Chinese martial arts elements with Ahsoka than Japanese samurai elements, I feel like it's all of the same cloth. Like there's very, very, similar, tendencies there as far as honor and respect and loyalty and of course martial arts emphasis. And we see that in different varying levels with Jedi. I mean, some Jedi just fight with aggression, like like a Viking, and there's some that fight, like with different styles that are more like fencing, but when it comes to Ahsoka, she's absolutely fighting in a more Eastern style, whether that be now in my opinion it's more wushu, Chinese style that she uses, but it's obviously not necessarily what they mean by a samurai style. I think it's more of a journeyman, like lone wolf and cub type, situation where she'll be traveling and just having the same format of those Japanese shows that relied heavily on honor and respect and the culture that the Japanese community had with those films back in the day. And they were very, very well crafted stories. So like in my mind, it means so many different things to say that it'll be like a samurai type show. I mean, it could mean like we're gonna see like in my mind I'm picturing like we're gonna see a lot of scenes that just happen to have random fucking cherry blossoms like falling from the trees as she's fighting. You know what I mean? Like just stuff that is integral to that type of storytelling from those shows, the graininess like we've seen in that Mando episode, just all those kind of things. So I'm really, really excited about that because I think that that's one of the things that Filoni has a big respect for and understands. Like it's almost like with Filoni's style, he doesn't just appreciate what Lucas did in and of itself, he also appreciates his inspirations. So we're seeing Western inspirations from him, samurai, Chinese culture, all those things. So I'm really excited.
Yeah, man, it's definitely going to be incredible, man, and I'm excited about it because it now gives them more potential. I mean, potential to mainly flesh out her character. I know there was a lot of talk. Well, will we see Luke in this show? Will Luke shows up? I hope not, to be quite honest. I don't want to see that. I mean, I want them to just rely on the characters at hand. I know they said this is going to be like more so a reunion of the Rebel Squad, and I would love to see that. So I can't wait for it. Mario, what you think about this, man? You think are you excited about the simple fact that he's talking about there's going to be a more of a samurai direction with this show? Or how you feel about it, bro?
I'm more excited just the fact that I'm seeing Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka. I just want to see the damn series. I don't really care about the theming of it. I just want to see how it goes down. To be honest. Yeah. We got that vibe. When we saw her in the where was here?
In the Jedi episode of Mandalorian.
Yeah. When we saw her there, we saw exactly, we saw that whole setup, and that's just pretty much what I'm expecting, really. And like what you just mentioned too. I mean, she's looking for Thrawn, so we know we're gonna see Ezra. I'm sure we're gonna see Sabine.
Yeah.
So and also why can't I think of her name right now?
Hera
Syndulla. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I would love to see all of them, reunite, again, and seeing them all in live action form. I think it's going to be fantastic. So it's definitely exciting. But again, I just want to see more Rosario's Ahsoka. I love how the characters developed. Yeah. Since the beginning. I mean, I wasn't really much of a fan. I couldn't stand her in Clone Wars, dude. The movie, actually, when it first came out, there was a lot of us that were like, just get rid of her. But nah, they
stuck
fleshed
with
her
it
out.
Yeah, they fleshed her out.
They fleshed her out really, really good, man. And now she's just like, she's extremely beloved.
Yeah,
so definitely. and I'm there with it. So I'm just excited to see more of Ahsoka in general. Because
it's more like we get a chance. Like a lot of us, we know that the Skywalker trilogy ended. You know what I mean? We it's time to basically see something new, something fresh, new blood, see a new direction, see another Jedi that was powerful. My biggest gripe was, okay, I understand that a lot of these shows wanted to take a new direction. I love Andor for what it is. I love basically what we got in Rogue One. I love what we basically got and what we're getting in The Mandalorian and Book of Boba. But the thing is, come on, man. Reality is a lot of us are actually in these shows and we love these shows because of the Jedi. And I think that if you completely deviate from that, it's just like, come on, man. Like literally people love the religion, the Jedi religion, you know, and there's so much richness there to explore. And I hope we get that, you know, with Ahsoka, because there's opportunity to get that. You know what I mean? And then we also have the Acolytes, which we'll talk about briefly in a minute, because they started production this a couple days ago. So, you know, yeah. So, you know, again, I'm just excited about, you know, where we're going with this. And extremely, before we get to you, I'm going to address it. I forgot to address the chat earlier. We got Charlie the Unicorn in here. Thank you for being here. Commander Green. We got Pedro Lopez. We got Toe Bar. My man Cutting. Uncle Keith is in the building. We got Renz Talentino, one of the illest artists out there. I can't wait for his collaboration with Vinny. As long as they don't create a room. Yeah.
Get to it.
Yeah. There's gonna be a collaboration there. I'm just throwing it out there because I know it's gonna
He's
work.
putting it out in the world.
Yeah, just putting it out there in the world. It's gonna be called, you know what I mean? Fan of Your Work Productions. We got the Islamic in the building. We got Charlie Unicorn. Let's see who else we got here. We got Skywalker in the building. We got Mikey Lito in the building. Thank you for being here, Mikey, my guy. We got Josh Baker, RMD Collective in the building. Let's see who else we got here. Josh Baker, AJ Agrusa, channel member AJ, always. Thank you for being here. We got Latoya T in the building. Thank you for being here, baby. Oiler's Workshop. I'm calling you out right now. I need you on next Wednesday's show. What's up? I'm calling you out. What's up? Let me know if you're available. I'm calling you out. I'm start calling everybody out. Who else we got here? We got RMD Collective. Amber May is in the building. She says, "Hey, old Vinny, I am holding the room down. I got you." Who else we got in here? We got Mary Sullivan. We got Ninja Squirrel 30 is in the building. Primetime Reviews is here as always. Josh Baker in the building. S Beam. And Pure Stewardge is actually here. Thank you for being here. As always, love having this crew. Everybody, we got Bert in the building, and we got, come on, you know, we got the one and only Beskar Kid, aka Leg Day, all day, every day. My man, thank you for being here. He said,
Bro,
I agree about Dooku. I love the parallels between him and Anakin. Definitely, man. I do love that.
Did you see his little workout video that he put out on his page?
Nah, I didn't.
Well, he was what, squatting almost 500?
For real.
Dude, freaking Beskar Kid. Take it easy, man. Take it
easy. Beskar beast all day making me look bad. I gotta get my leg day up, man. I gotta get that up all day, every day. But yeah,
Squatting cows for calf day.
Oh, cows for calf day all day. Yo, so Rita, what you think about this? Do you think about that? Basically, this you know, iteration of what we're going. Are you excited about the direction that they're going to take with that he's saying that they're going to take with this show? Some of the influence that they're going to get with this. How do you feel about it?
I think they need to do it. I think that there needs to be something extra for the Ahsoka show. I think she needs to have this special combat style. We know she's been trained by the best. We do know that she can handle any situation. But this might be an excellent opportunity to see her against some of the fiercest and strongest fighters out there in the galaxy. Like this could be something completely different. And it's, you know, if it's going to be like Shogun, then what Karimaska, right? Isn't that what If it's going to be like that, then let it be like that. I hope to see just like what Vinny was saying, you know, yes, we will see those beautiful blossoms, and then we'll see things like on the table of Vaz, and then, you know, a sword will go through, and then everything will be fine, and then it just kind of slide down. That's right. Yep. All that fun and good stuff. And of course, since Ahsoka is a Force user and she can Force jump, we're going to see it for real. So there's going to be that cool Force jumping and kind of going back, and we kind of did see a little bit, you know, although it was a little more low key, but we're going to be able to kind of really exploit that and see that and really kind of see these amazing shots of things that we don't always get to see, but done the right way. It's not going to be kind of crazy and all over the place. It's going to be very calculated. It's going to be very, you know, like them looking at each other's eyes, because, you know, in this type of a fight, you have to look at the person, you know, all sorts of rules that they're going to follow. It's going to be staged so well. We're going to really, it's going to be so pleasurable to watch. And we're going to learn about some of the other battles that we maybe haven't even had a chance to see outside of the Jedi, fighting other people, maybe even. She fights other opponents. She fights other challenges. Certainly something I think that she could do to perfection, because she has had to go out there in the world, right? Like, she was forced to go out on her own, so to speak, you know, in a sense. So she has this acceptance of her own self, where she knows she's going to have to fight, I guess, more or less solo sometimes. And, you know, she goes with the flow. I think it's going to be a very kind of Zen feeling to what she does, and a lot of kind of meditative kind of approach, I guess. And I don't know, you mentioned Luke, Lael, and I think Luke is a little thirsty for her, because the last time we saw them together, he was like, "Am I going to see you again?"
Like, she said, "Perhaps." She's like his grandma, man. No, she's not. They're not too far.
Catfish him or something. Like, what's up with Luke? He's like, but you know, he probably has learned everything from R2, right? Or let's say from a book or something, read about her. He knows all about her. So this is, you know, such an amazing person to him. But, you know, his own desires, because Luke does have desires, is not the focus for Ahsoka. She has, you know, somewhat more of a broader and more experienced, you know, just at that time in her life versus his. You know, he's still very young there. So, you know, he's like, "Am I going to see you again?" And I'm like, "Really?" I'm like, you could just see the texting going between the two of them.
Hey, he got it from his dad. His dad had a thirst for older women, so hell, is any.
Look, I don't blame Luke. That's
he's ghosting him. That's all I'm saying.
That's Rosario Dawson. I don't blame Luke.
Yeah. He's ghosting him, and it's okay. Like, she knows as long as he sends the text, he knows she's fine mentally, because I'm sure they're connected now. But I just thought it was very funny that they showed that he has a desire to build a relationship with her. And, you know, we don't always see that with Jedi all the time, do we?
Yeah. I think it's like with him, you know, that's a direct connection to his father. She knows everything about his father. So to learn more about him, you know what I mean, through her, someone who spent so much time, you know what I mean? And that's the thing, is like, I hope like we get a flashback, as the only thing that I want to see is the flashback as to when, you know, Ahsoka and Luke met for the first time. You know what I mean? Like, when they basically came across, and like how, because, you know, the person that would have recognized her so much, you know, for the most part, or the android would have, you know, R2 would have recognized her first. You know, and how many stories, you know, if you think about it, like, yo, R2 has a lot of stories to tell, like a lot of stories, everything that's actually in his backup. So much that's actually there. You know, what Ahsoka got about 16 years on Luke. Hey, you know what I mean?
Just a number.
Yeah, hey, you already know. But it's definitely going to be interesting to see. You know, and really with this show, I'm hyper interested to basically find out about Sabine's story, like more so about Sabine, that I want to know her feelings on, you know, where the Darksaber is at the moment. And because the thing is, it's like, there's no doubt in my mind that we're going to see. There's a possibility. I'm not going to say that we will, but there's a possibility that we will see in the future. We might see an episode of Sabine in The Mandalorian, and even we know that Pedro Pascal right now, he's like, yo, he's pushing. He says, yo, Mando needs to be a movie. It really does. We need to have a movie out of Mando, and you know, it could be epic. It could be definitely huge, to say the least. But yeah, I'm definitely excited about this and where it's going. I can't wait to see, you know, where he takes this show. I mean, they've been grooming him to basically direct, and I can't wait. You know, I'm just all in for it. But yeah, so everybody out there, let me know what you think about this. Next up, before we actually get into the main the main topic here, I wanted to actually touch on something real quick. We got the start of, they did talk about the start of Acolytes. So Acolytes actually began its production, you know, this week. I think it was like as a matter of fact, the end of last week, it actually started production. So we did get that news. The director's talking about it. She's really excited. I don't know. The more and more I find out about this show, the more and more that we learn about it, I just keep getting more and more excited, to see where it's going to go. It's going to basically focus in, on the Sith, and the apprenticeship, what we see from them, the motivations. And the thing is, what I love about it, which is crazy, is that there's not enough that we know about it. You know what I mean? We just know that they're geared towards a lot. So, how excited are you about it, Mario?
I can't wait, man. I'm gonna sit that hard,
Yeah.
Jedi. I mean, this is something. This is something that I'm more interested in because we haven't really explored the history of the Sith. I mean, we know about them in books and legend and everything like that, but there's so many stories that are out there that haven't been explored in live action, and I just can't wait to see what they're going to do with it. Yeah. Again, I know little to nothing about the production, but I just think the lore, what it's actually about, what it's surrounded itself, in, it's just it's exciting, man.
Yeah.
Just to see this side of the story. And because there's so much that they can really, if they're gonna do anything, like if they're gonna follow that Game of Thrones formula, as far as the scheming and betrayal, it's gonna be in the Acolyte. Yeah, that's where they can shine and do all that stuff because that's what they were. Yeah, they were always trying to outdo each other. They're trying to kill each other. I mean, one wants to rise to power more than the other. It was all chaos before the rule of two.
Yeah,
right? I mean, there's so much that could be explored in here, man. So, but we'll just have to wait and see what they actually bring us. But I'm definitely excited for this particular show.
Definitely. How are you? Where's your excitement level for this show?
I want it to be a sexy show. I think this is the kind of like the more adult, seductive. I think the way I look at it is it's like it's Interview with a Vampire, but with Jedi, because there's going to be the Antonio Banderas, style guys who will be trying to tempt people to the dark side, and the women who, are just absolutely seductive. I mean, we kind of like, I guess Asajj Ventress, she was a dark side user, but she pretty much was covered up, but she did have like a seductive quality to her. And I'm expecting, to see a lot of that.
Damn near seduce Obi-Wan a couple times. Damn near.
Absolutely. She threw her skirt over his head and he was like, "Oh, you've got to do better than that, my darling," or whatever it was. And she can do a lot better than that. But honestly, guys, we need to be able to see people getting seduced by the dark side for different reasons, and not necessarily because they're upset about, the Jedi. It has to be, just a natural order of things. There are people who use different side of the Force, and I want to see all of that. Maybe they're not also bad and evil all the time. Maybe it's just how they were brought up. I mean, honestly, if you were only brought up in the dark side, that's all you really know, right? We don't. There's so much that we don't know. It's almost like the unknown. And honestly, I can understand, people just being that way if that's what they know. Maul, that's all he knew. That's all he knew his whole life. I think if someone went over to him and said, "Hey, why don't you try and use the light side of the Force?" It seems ridiculous. It seems absurd. So I think it would be interesting to see, people who have an approach to, using the Force from that other, another culture or another idea, because we need some fresh ideas in here. We know that it existed. I'm eager to see it, but it has to be seductive. I want to be seduced. I want this show to be like, "Oh my gosh, wow, yeah."
Yeah, that's but you know what? It is, because what I want, and when you say want to be seduced, I want it to be seduced in a way that it gives me a perspective where I'm thinking, well, were the Sith really wrong? You know what I mean? Like, were their beliefs
like Thanos,
really,
right?
Yeah, like, you know what I mean? Exactly. Like, I want that dichotomy. I want to basically feel as though that I'm torn. Yes. You know what I mean? I don't, because all we've known, like, even like since Star Wars was introduced, all we knew was, in our minds, the Sith were completely evil. What if they had certain beliefs that weren't really direct? Because the thing is, we only see the interpretation of the Sith so far through the Empire, through, and we know that, Palpatine being a Sith and his use of, his thirst for power is where it's driven. But we also know, even through books and through lore, there were certain Sith that weren't directly evil.
Yeah,
They
and
weren't good,
I
but they
don't think
weren't
the
directly
Night Sisters
evil.
were evil. Do you? I mean, I don't think they were evil. I think that was their religion. They treated the Force like a religion, and they were. I don't think they were evil.
They were. It was more so that they were submersed. They felt as though having a connection, having a connection to the sheer emotion is what drives and gives you more power. But at the same time, it's like also because if you think about it, like I'll give you an example. What we saw in Tales with Dooku. Dooku was he was empathetic a couple times. He was really, really empathetic, and he showed that. Whereas you have somebody like Mace Windu who was by the book, just strictly by the book. Dooku was more, empathetic towards certain things. He was mainly geared more towards the people rather than the ways and the teachings of the Jedi itself. So again, it was like, by anything for the greater good by any means. Especially if it's going to bring about, and they have, and when you look at the Sith, I think that they have a desire, a certain level of desire for peace from their perspective. You know what I mean? From their certain perspective. So that's what I want to see. I want to see where this would actually go. Vinny, what did you think? Are you excited about this, man?
Well, I'll be honest. My expectations are low, and
Okay.
that's how I usually like to go into anything kind of uncharted territory with Star Wars because, historically, sometimes they're all over the place. So
True.
Now when it comes to something like Acolyte, I'm hesitant to be super excited because the way they've handled the Sith over the years has been so vastly inconsistent. And
Yeah.
I feel like, especially under Disney, they've had this just kind of they've had this desire to prioritize redemption at any expense.
Yeah.
And like what we've seen with Kylo is why I'm nervous. I mean, he's indirectly responsible for billions of lives, and at the end, it's like, oh, he kissed a girl and walk off into the sunset and die the hero's death, and it's in a way kind of a cop out. And in their eyes, I completely get it. I'm sure it makes sense to them to do it that way, and that's fine. But when it comes to doing a show based around a villain or villains, it's tricky. It's always tricky. I mean, it's really tough to walk that line between an empathetic villain that you understand his plight and glorifying wrongdoing to a network streaming service that has the Disney, name on it. It's been one of the things that we've all talked about with Disney from day one. It's how do they separate and how do they do mature content, and still keep their reputation, how they walk that line, how they have their cake and eat it too, so to speak. I feel like Andor is mature and quote unquote boring to children enough that they don't have to worry about that. Like there's not many 6-7-year-olds who are watching Andor past episode or two and realizing nothing fun is happening and not watching it. So they don't have to really worry about that with a show like Andor. But it's still based around lightsabers. You're going to have kids watching it, and they might be worried about how they tell their stories.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you guys are on brand with that, talking about how you want to see that there's, justification in their minds at least, and, empathy for, their actions, and that it's not just straight up evil. But the Sith do a lot of fucked up evil shit, and I don't want them to keep like, that we blew up this village, but here's a flashback to when they were like beat as a kid, so it's okay because they're fucked up. It's like I don't want them to keep like tiptoeing around them being evil. Like lean into it, or I mean, because these are Sith thousands of years ago, 1,000 years ago in their prime, right? Where they should be doing even more fucked up shit than starting a room full of kids. They should be doing whatever it takes because part of their religion is becoming more powerful via committing evil acts.
Somewhere.
Okay, now if they act like that part of it isn't part of it, then I feel like that's like you're like cherry picking.
Yeah.
And you know what I
here's the
mean?
thing.
It's like, and they're going to.
Yeah.
That's why my expectations are low. I don't
Yeah.
expect them to.
I think
I don't expect to see full on Sith just being Sith and just going all out. I feel like it's going to be like a Dexter, where it's somebody killing people, but he's doing. You're telling the story from his point of view, and it's going to be a perspective thing. Like if we watched the original trilogy and it was all following Darth Vader, everyone, it wouldn't be a question. But it's told through the eyes of the heroes, and there's so many different stories like that. Where, I mean, if they didn't make Infinity War Thanos' movie in a way, it would have been cut dry. You wouldn't see Thanos is right, whatever. But if you tell the story through the villain's eyes, it's going to be pretty easy to, twist and manipulate, from a certain point of view, their motivations and their actions. I just don't want them to like cop out on Sith behavior. I want them to let Sith be badasses.
I don't think they will. And the reason why I say that is because, again, we are seeing it from a certain point of view. We're seeing it from a certain perspective. But yes, a lot of, when it comes to the Sith, they're more into it's a thirst for power, but also a thirst for knowledge of the dark side, and basically yes. But here's the thing, though, when we think about it, it's like whether you're a Sith or a Jedi, the Jedi have done things that were questionable as well. Things that, were like, wait a minute, like, why, their beliefs and also their arrogance was their undoing. I mean, a level of arrogance, not really getting involved in certain things. Like, to be quite honest, like if you think about the Jedi, they were assholes, bro. Like, literally, the Jedi religion they were full of assholes, because the thing is, like, when we hear what Qui-Gon says, when they're on Tatooine, oh, I didn't come here to free slaves. You know what I mean? Like, they were just basically there to investigate and this, that, and the third. Like, they had certain things, was like, damn, like, if you're not really living for the people, you're living for your religion based off what you basically believe. So even certain things that we thought about the Jedi were questionable. Just like the things like for instance, MCU, we had characters such as Thanos. We also had, Killmonger. We see things from his perspective. We're going into next week, Wakanda Forever, where we're going to actually get a chance to see things from, Namor's perspective. So there's a lot that's actually riding into it. But I think that, watching this film, and the thing is, like, we can all have our own predictions about it, but we just have to wait and see where they're going to actually go with it.
Absolutely.
But
I'm excited to see how it plays out, no doubt.
Yeah, and it's going to be very interesting to see where they're going with it. I mean, we are talking about an era where there was the Ruler 2. You know what I mean? How we're going to, where the Ruler 2 started. How that basically began. I hope they give us more information on that in this particular film. And the thing is, like, look, it's the Acolytes. If it's Sith based, you have to give us the history. You have to talk about certain characters. You got to talk about Malik. You have to talk about Revan. You have to talk about Bane. You have to talk about some of these characters that were highly influenced. Malgus, we have to talk about these individuals, Plagueis, that actually had influences, pretty much, within the Sith religion. And I'm hoping that they kind of tackle, even if you don't show them, even if you don't basically show, there has to be like references and a hint that, these things they're paying homage to it. So it's going to be interesting to basically see. I can't wait. What were we gonna say?
The photo that you used of this actress is different on the thumbnail than this one. It was like, she's a little bit sexier, kind of.
Yeah.
You see her in her more seductive.
Acolyte late night.
Acolyte late night.
Star Wars Uncut. Star Wars Uncut.
Yeah, somebody says Stifle Diaz as well. Like, I mean, there's a lot that we need to see. You know what I mean? And that's the biggest thing. I can't wait. For what we're going to see. But it's going to be interesting. But I hope, if anything, I hope they're learning. You know what I mean? It looks like they're learning with not really watering down the show and making it more above a PG rating that we're getting with Andor, which we're going to talk about here next. Because this last episode 9, boy. Like literally, it had me on the edge of my seat. Because of the simple fact that, we are really seeing how the Empire is full of a whole bunch of assholes who do not care about anything so malicious. Like I was talking about earlier, I feel so bad for Bex. You know what I mean? Like I did. She was going through it, but her scream was terrifying. I don't know. They just keep elevating this show. Like they keep elevating it. Like the minute that I'm like, it's like there's always an elevation there, and I'm so happy to basically see that. Mario, I want to go to you first, brother, because what are you thinking so far? I mean, as I know that you were, with this, show, in the beginning, you were like, then you had to turn around. You're like, this is starting to get good. What did you think about this last episode?
Oh man, I had to catch up because I missed the previous one from the week before too. I thought that one was great. I don't know, man. I don't know what it is, but I'm not. It's not retaining my attention as much, man. I don't feel as invested as I should be, like I was with. I don't know. I'm caught up with Westeros and dragons and Targaryens and all that shit right now, man. So, it's just I hate to think that Andor is starting to feel like a chore, dude.
Yeah.
It's because I don't know what it is. Don't get me wrong. It's still, I think it's the stories itself are pretty damn good, but I think the episodes could be a little bit tighter as far as like, the writing and the pacing is concerned. There were some great moments in it, but some of it was just like, like for instance, I think as many times that we saw them on the assembly floor, put together whatever they're putting together. I mean, I heard theories that it could be like, what you call it? Sections for the Death Star or something.
Oh, that was confirmed. That was definitely confirmed.
Okay.
Yeah, it's parts for the Death Star. Yeah.
We just saw like the same thing over and over again in a sense where like I really didn't see any that much progress. I mean, we saw some people like we saw the old man starting to wear down a little bit. It was unfortunate to see what happened to him. I mean, I think they didn't need to show us that like 4 or 5 times the same thing with little to no payoff, but we do see where the story is going, where they as far as like them trying to seize an opportunity to get the hell out of there. Which is great. There's so much more that's going on. It's really good, but I don't know. For me, it's just such a mixed bag, and I hate. I don't know. It's so weird, but something that is supposed to be really, really good. And I just don't feel like it's there for me, to be honest. Okay. So it's, I don't know. It's just weird. It's just weird. I mean, again, I'm not saying that it's bad, but there's just something about it that's just not. I don't feel like that well invested in it.
Got you. No, that's completely understandable. Like I said, I mean, for some, it will be that way. It will be like a slow build on and off. What I like, I guess where it's carrying me right now is the simple fact that it is a deviation from what we're used to. And I love that. I love the deviation from everything that we know and what we've seen, because the thing is, what we started seeing, like, yes, I love The Mandalorian just like everybody else. But it just became more, I mean, again, with Star Wars action filled and stuff like that, but less attention and focus on dialogue, because dialogue is what, for me, is what drives the show. If I can know more about the characters, see the characters' development, the connection that I want to actually get with those characters, it really helps me understand, and it helps me with the pacing of the show. If I don't get that, I'm more disinterested, because I'm like, okay, certain things I've seen before. It becomes a trope out there. You know what I mean? I've seen that before. I've experienced that before. Yeah, I've seen that. I knew that. I can predict that was coming. This show for me is unpredictable. Like, it is unpredictable in such a good way, because I don't know what's happening. But I see now the development of Andor, of Cassian. Like, we're starting to basically see, why, his, not only the simple fact that now he's no longer working for himself. We're seeing now basically he's working with a unit now. He's developing that that chemistry with individuals, whereas if we work together, we can achieve a goal. I like basically seeing, the stress, the amount of stress that, Mon Mothma is experiencing right now, on the Senate, also even with her own family. Side note, I want her to whoop her daughter's ass. She needs to whoop her ass. I swear to God, if she talks to me like that, when she's like, yo, mom, daddy lets me do whatever I want, I don't give a fuck. I will whoop your ass if you don't listen. But again,
Throw
you
her
know,
outside the Coruscant window,
yeah,
man.
man, I
Watch
wanted
her
to
fly.
whoop her daughter's ass. If you ever talk to me like that again, I would. What?
Mhm.
But anyway, I loved basically seeing that. You know, and it just the confusion there. I love seeing the torment. You know, everything that basically, and it just had me on the edge of my seat with these characters. I love the writing of this show. I can't say it enough. Like it just takes me somewhere, you know, where I've wanted it so much. And I'm in it. I'm all in on it. Every episode I need. And it's a deviation again away from what I know and what I'm used to. I'm tired of seeing the same thing in the universe. Good versus evil. Good always triumphs in the end. And that's what it is. Okay, boom, boom. I want to see something else. And I guess this is what this show is basically giving me. I am so thrusted into dialogue. And I think that dialogue driven, because if you look at it, for instance, if you're looking at House of Dragons, that show was purely driven off of dialogue. Yes, there was some action, but it was driven off of dialogue, connective tissue between the individual characters. We see that. I think, and I feel as though we're getting the same thing with this, like that connective tissue, like just the dialogue back and forth. We're seeing three different scenarios happening at once, but at the same time, we know it's to achieve one ultimate goal. And that's what I love about this show is the simple fact that I don't know what's going to happen next, but I'm so excited to see it. It keeps me on the edge of my seat. Like Vinny, you were talking about earlier, you hated the simple fact that, damn, I got to wait till next week to see what's going to happen. You know what I mean? Next. And that's the way I feel about this. How you feel about it, bro?
This episode just was super suspenseful the whole way through. Tomorrow's part, I do feel like there's a few areas where it was dragging a little bit, but I feel like it was intentional to build towards the payoff at the end, and like the whole episode was to get to that payoff. And I felt like if it was a more action-packed episode, more things going on, I feel like maybe that end would have lost its effect, because it was kind of like a slingshot. Like it was, the whole episode was just pulling back that bow to let it go at the end, and know that you're on about to be in for a hell of a fucking follow-up episode. The man, the symbolism in this episode that speaks to many different historical movements of why people can accept totalitarianism, to accept oppression. We got to see the embodiment of society in one man. Andy Serkis fucking killed it. Because many people know that there's a lot of fucked up things in the world, but yet they can't do anything about it, and they get pissed off at other people bitching about it because they can't do anything about it either. So just shut up and go to work and pay your taxes and take care of your kids and just stop bitching about it, because what can we do about it? And he went through that process with his crew, his family, basically, that he's responsible for, pushing back, and him not wanting to see them rock the boat and fuck up not just his shit, but their shit too. Like, yo, you're gonna fuck this up for you too. Shut up. Just go to work and keep your head down and you'll be fine. Stop being, stop butting your head against the wall. Like, there's no point.
Yeah.
And then with the snap of a finger, with Olaf, who like he clearly loved, respected, admired, and saw himself in, that hearing what happened on level 2 just like flipped a switch in him. And we'll get to that payoff later, I'm sure, but that buildup of man, just accept it. Accept it. That speaks to how important what Luthen said was. Like, they're not going to accept our rebellion if we're just annoyed by the Empire. They're only going to accept and support our rebellion if they're feeling the boot on their neck too.
Exactly.
So all these things have to be fucked up.
Yep.
They can't be
Yep.
inconvenient. They have to be
Exactly.
fucked up.
Yep.
Like
Yep.
the government wasn't going to pass the Privacy Act because somebody blew up a van.
Yeah.
They had to blow up the World Trade Center.
Yep. 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 And it's realism, bro. Like you make a statement by hitting them where it really makes a difference, where it really causes the confusion.
Right.
You know what I mean? If it's affecting the money in your pocket, it's if it's affecting family members that awesome. It's
exactly. And
exactly.
There's that too. When it affected him personally. It hit home. You also see that many times too. There's that famous, they came for the Jews, you said nothing. They came for the blacks, you said nothing. They came for the gay people, you said nothing. And then one day they came for you and you had nobody. It's that. Exactly. It's like, okay, now you get to see it because it affects you. Now it's serious. Now you understand. Like before it was just that's some other shit. But you get to see kind of how we get to where the world was going into A New Hope and the rebellion and everything, and it makes no sense because it's so big and it's so vast that it makes sense that it's like, well, here's the way things are and what could we possibly do about it. And the rebellion's point was to piss off the people enough that they felt like they also actually had to do something about it, because now it was just more than just being an inconvenience or it's not exactly the way things should be. Now fuck, they're killing people for they're arresting people for no reason. They're evil. They're not just strict. They're evil.
They're evil. And that's the thing. It's not a trope in this show. It's not basically where you see that. None of that bullshit, bro.
Yeah.
Like
there's no menacing. Right.
Nah, it's straight up calculated evil, bro. Like it is straight up psychologically enhanced evil. Like basically they don't give two shit. When that doctor was explaining what he was doing and the torture, the Bix, the way he was explaining that shit, I was like, yo, some crazy shit. And then talking about easily talking about the slaughter of innocent alien children.
You think about that is what was so impactful, that scene. They not only were using that, it's not this that they were torturing Bix. That wasn't even what was heavy about that scene. That was nothing. What was important was they slaughtered a race of aliens and then harvested their pain and used that as a way to cause even more pain across the galaxy. And the perfectly executed decision to not play the audio to the home viewer was brilliant.
Yeah. So as soon
as he put that headphone on her, I was like, please don't let us hear it. Because whatever that sound is, no matter how horrible it is of something screaming or whatever, people would just make fun of it. Don't play anything. Just show her, reacting.
And that was terrifying. Her scream was fucking terrifying. I was like, yo, bro, literally I cringed. I had to turn it down because I didn't know it was going to come in like that. And that's it was beautifully done. And she played it to a fucking T. And then seeing the after effects, she was tormented at that point, bro.
Yes.
And Deidre just gives two fucks. She don't give not one fuck. Literally, she has a motivation and she's going to do whatever it takes. Yo, Deidre is the evilest person I have ever seen. One of the evilest individuals. I mean, besides Tarkin and whoever else, she's evil as fuck. She literally there is no way. And I guess so. Again, this answers your question. And people were concerned about. I think we were concerned about this last week. We don't want to see Deidre make a turn. Fuck that. She ain't making no turn. She's all out evil. She don't give two shits. So this is where she.
But even in that light, she thinks she's helping her, cause stopping a terrorist.
Yeah. That she's all
out. And again, even in her head, she feels like she's just stopping terrorism. So I mean, it's always justified, right? No matter what you do, no matter who you are, in your head, you're doing the Lord's work. You're doing the right thing. You're doing the right thing
for the cause.
Everybody's the hero of their own story. They're doing the right things. She deserved that. She's harboring the fugitive.
That's basically what she's doing. She's doing
Yep.
what she's. I mean, and we all do it. Like the intention is to get to where you need to be.
Yep.
What did you think? Where you at? Besides the simple fact that we might eventually get some butt nakedness, so we just don't have it yet. Be more patient. We'll get it. But so far, beyond the booty naked, how are you feeling about the show?
Well, I loved how Cyril is essentially stalking her, and he's just, showing up. He's been following her at work, but he's probably followed her multiple times. This man has peered in her window. Cyril is hardcore, full-on stalking.
I love that he was like, "I've seen you many times, and this is the first time I've just actually talked to you. Like, so this isn't even the first time I'm being out here a creeper."
Cyril probably logs what time she leaves work every day. In addition to that, he probably has her home phone number. This guy is hardcore. He's probably, if Cyril could, he would listen into her private conversations. However, he does make a good point. They kind of seem to want the same thing. She does not care about him at all, but he is brazen. The way he grabbed her arm that way, he kind of stepped in front of her. Then he grabs her arm. And I think it's very funny. If it were me, I would have put him in jail.
I don't know. I think she kind of liked it.
Yes, I know, right?
Yeah, so it kind of looked like she was kind of like
it looked
thinking
like she
about
was
it like
you know
what I mean?
Somebody like telling me what to do. Oh, okay.
Right?
Yeah, it's a little potentially dominatrix kind of thing. But maybe she does actually need him to do certain things. And I don't know whether he would ever work for her. I mean, I just don't really see him making it high up in the corporate environment because he doesn't really play the game. She knows how to play the game, and so do the other officers, if you will, the executives know what to do. But Cyril isn't that kind of a person. I'm not quite sure. I think he's maybe too devoted to what's right and wrong in his mind versus, getting ahead. It's more important to him to, do what he thinks is right versus playing the game. So if there was ever a union, he would mess things up for her by
he can't even bring her back to the crib. His mom's there.
Yeah.
Well, what would happen is that she would be working on something and he would spill the beans.
Yeah.
And it would get her all messed up and in trouble. And then she'd be like, why the hell did I trust this stupid guy anyway? That's how she looks at this. She doesn't look at him as even another human being. She's looking at him as to what she can get from him. She knows there's nothing he can give her now.
Yeah.
But he's not going away. And I love her commitment to whatever brutality she's determined to push through. She doesn't like when other men speak up while she's in the middle of speaking. She didn't like that. She was like, why did he talk? Oh, it worked out. But I'm sure later on she was like, don't ever do that again.
Right.
And you know what? The dope part about it is her ascension. She's now the voice in the room. Like literally. She's not the voice. She's not the voice in the background anymore. She's that voice in the room. Like literally, you will fucking respect me. Like that's just basically where she's at. And it wasn't forced because we saw her get to where she is right now. And we basically believe everything that she says that she's going to do. We believe in her evil. And what she believes is it's a necessary evil. Like Vinny said, it's a necessary evil for her. And I love that. Cyril, he's reckless.
Hey girl,
you
like cereal?
Yeah, like he's reckless, bro.
How long will it be till he's
what kind of cereal, like girl?
When he's in her apartment? How long are we to that episode? Because I feel like that's going
next
down.
episode.
Hey girl,
next episode, what's happening?
You like cereal?
Like literally, like it is going.
You want some blue milk?
Yeah,
right.
Mm-hmm.
And they make it a point to basically point out that cereal too. With his mom is always making him eat a bowl of. It's some creepy shit. Like it literally is. Like even like looking at her there, like how close they were to each
They
other.
were so close.
Yeah,
like,
when
you
he got the promotion, and all of a sudden, like she comes inside the camera, and then she's in his face. I'm like, yo, that shit was creepy as hell.
Yeah,
but I agree with you though, Vin. I think she's into it, man. I think she's actually gonna like. But at the same time, I believe she is gonna definitely try to work out. Think in her mind, what can she gain from this relationship?
It's like
and just
Jan
use it to
and
her
Michael
advantage.
Scott from The Office.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what she
Look at her
reminded me?
face, dude.
Yeah, you know who she reminded me of She reminds me of Charlize Theron's character in Prometheus.
Yeah.
How
but he knew better to just work it out with Idris, because he was like, "Are we going to do this or what?" And she's like, "My quarter is 10 minutes." So,
yeah, exactly. In and out.
Yep. Exactly. That's what's happening. Yeah, that's what's gonna happen.
In and out.
But he's no Idris Elba. You don't say no to Idris.
But I love the simple fact that, again, we're seeing him. And the thing is, we know he's going to have a role to play. They had him there for a reason. We just didn't know why.
Yeah.
His obsession. And he is really, really obsessed, more so when Andor. And the thing is, this was weird, though. How do they not know where Andor is at right now? And being that he's locked up. That's the confusion to me.
Maybe their system is not quite what it is in 20 years.
And he's not saying that Andor is his name. They can't pick up that.
He's going under a different alias.
Yeah. He's not in there as Andor. Or also, since they're basically wrongfully arresting these people, they might be hiding that they're even in jail at all.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah.
They might be off the books. That's why, I mean, because think about it. Like, if they were... There you go.
I love it.
Serial killer.
Kid, bro.
Serial killer.
Yo, that's... you know what? I'm going to create a box of cereal, put him on it, and just put that logo. Yo! Wow, that's crazy. I like that, though. But
she tested mother approved.
Damn. But again, like, I mean, we're seeing there's going to be a rise of the rebellion from so many different points. You know what I mean? Even with Bix, I think she's going to have, like, I think right now, especially where Bix is right now and what we're seeing from her in a torture and what she's experiencing right now, there's also going to be, a lot of, in her right now is a lot of anger, regret, but anger and resentment towards Andor, that her planet and where they're at right now, they're experiencing so much hardship, and this motherfucker left. You know what I mean?
No, I'm mad. That's the one thing I disagree with. I don't feel that much sympathy for Bix. A lot of this is her fault.
You think so?
Andor came back and was like, "Babe, I'm sorry I left. I got all this cheese. Let's get the fuck out of here." And she was like, "Nah, I kind of like that other dude. And even though he snitched you out, he's dead now, and this is all your fault." And he's like, "What?" Like, it should made no sense that she dissed him so bad when he came back. It made no sense.
I don't
and then
feel sorry for her
because his mom is dying, like, he already made peace with mom staying there. Like, that was the point. He was running away to get away. She gets on the radio and draws all this attention. They wouldn't be there if it wasn't for her.
It was foolish, yes. And she had both of those guys, so I have no sympathy for her.
She was playing both, right?
Enjoying herself with practically the entire planet. Trust me, she's all right. She's okay. In fact, when they release her, if they ever do, she'll be fine. But this is what she did was very foolish.
I think, though, but the thing is, that's why I said, like, she's dealing with a lot of anger, resentment, but also regret. Basically that, again, she did bring a lot of attention to that planet, and this is what's actually happening right now because of it, because of the set of circumstances. But I think there's going to be an established rebellion, on that particular planet right now. I mean, especially with his mom still being there, but her just wanting to hang around what she's experiencing right now, which is basically creating even more hatred for the Empire. It's going to be interesting to see where this story goes. But I mean, regardless of what she did, this level of torture is insane. Yeah. Like, literally insane. Like, literally, they are driving her to a point where she herself is losing it. She's experiencing a lot of PTSD for what she's going through right now. It's like, oh shit. You know what I mean? So I don't know. What do you think about it, Mario? You think, you don't give a shit about her character, and like, you think she brought a lot of this on herself, man?
I don't know, man.
She has say it like that, but still, I just don't feel that bad. That's all.
No, I don't know. I mean, I still see her concerns about, everything, but I just got caught up in. This reminded me a lot of Rogue One, the Borgala scene, a little bit, the way that they portrayed it. And I don't know if y'all noticed, but I think when they closed the door and the way they panned the camera, right, and they shot up to the officer walking away, I thought that was a bit of a callback to A New Hope, to A New Hope actually.
New Hope and Empire, both.
With the part in Empire in particular.
So the torture of Leia in New Hope.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking of.
Also, the torture of Han in Empire, because they shut the door and all you can hear was his screams. So it's almost the same. Like there's paying homage to both, like the torture devices. But the thing is, it's like we're now we're experiencing this firsthand, and we're learning some of the vices that they're using, and it's fucked up. Like literally fucked up.
Yeah, definitely. But I mean, she's. I don't know. I just don't give a shit.
you just don't give a shit.
I'm just checked out. I think I'm just checked out. Right in regards to her character, man. It's just like I don't. I'm just checked out.
So
you know,
it's just going to take something spectacular to bring you back in.
No. It's not. I recognize what it is right now. I mean, I'm not. This entire episode hasn't been bad. It's weird for me personally.
So Mario, you're like the people in the Senate. You've switched the light off. You switched the light off. You just
basically. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, Lord of the Empire. But yeah. I don't know, man. I gotta go back and watch it again, because the thing is that when I'm watching these things, I don't know. I don't think I'm like fully there, like alert, really watching it, because I tend to watch things like late at night, when, I'm just trying to unwind. But this isn't, you guys bring up excellent points to remind me of everything that happened. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. That. And it was great. Yeah, but this particular torture scene, man, it was just like, yeah, they're just looking for Cassian,
yeah,
just trying to get some information out of her. And she's told him, everything that, that she basically knows. But yeah, it's definitely messed up, this style of torture, because we saw what happened to the other dude.
Yeah.
How they knocked him on his ass.
Yeah.
So it's definitely scary. And what was cool is that the guy that's what was it? The dude that's setting it up, he's just kind of just tell her just to relax, don't fight this or whatever like that. But it's just, I don't know. It's just a messed up level of torture, bro.
Yeah, definitely, man.
Yeah.
It was, what was interesting. What's interesting though, about this episode is that we find out that Vel and Mon Mothma are related. And I didn't know that.
Yeah.
We find that out. And Vel being literally one of my favorite characters on this show. Like I love, the story. I mean, I've loved her, the actress Faye, since Game of Thrones, because she made me hate her in Game of Thrones, and that's why I love her, because like I love the way she portrayed that character. But then here we find out that both her and Mon Mothma are pretty much related, and both understanding the same cause, which makes sense. And this was when her daughter badass. I wouldn't have brought her daughter. Shit, but that's just me. I just want to whoop that daughter's ass. I just want to pause the show just one time and just go in the screen and whoop her daughter's ass one time. And there's, know what I mean?
One of the best moments of this show was the daughter shows her ass, the husband shows his ass, the dude she's grooming is fucking with her, and then everybody leaves and she's just standing there alone. And it just has that beam of light shining on her after the door closed. And it just goes to show, like, she's like me against the world. It's like I'm trying to in my own way, like, take down an empire from the inside. And it's like a mosquito trying to sting their way out of a fucking elephant. It's almost impossible. It's crazy.
Yeah, it is. It's like every door so far is shutting. You know what I mean? And it's not, again, it's not something that, she has any type of control over at the moment. It's like she's flying blind right now and trying to basically stay as, discreet. And it was a few times, like even on the conversation between her and Vel, it was like almost when Mon Mothma was like, I just feel like checking out. I think this was a mistake. You know what I mean? Yeah. And Vel's like, no, you knew what you were signing up for. This was the cause. You took an oath. You can't, you know what I mean? So the strong one between, the strongest between the two right now, even though that Mon Mothma is the voice, Vale is the strongest because again, she's doing, what she needs to
He's
do. And
taking action.
she's taking action by any means. And she has to keep Mon Mothma focused on the end game, and I think and that's the strength. And I think, when I'm looking at this and I'm like, because we don't know anything else about Vale as much going forward. You know what I mean? There's a lot, that's, in the lore, but we don't know too much about her. We know, I think that there's going to be something that's going to flip that switch for Mon Mothma, even going down the road. Like, yeah, fuck the Empire. This is what we have to do. You know what I mean? With her connection to her sister, or to her, they're sisters, right? Or cousins. You know what I mean? It's her, her relationship with her family, struggling to, keep the rebellion financially stable, and then trying to basically convince the Senate, you know what I mean, that, hey, what's happening right now, we're getting away from why we established the Senate anyway, like this control, this level of control, you know what I mean? And the thing is, we don't see her right now being challenged because, again, as much as, Palpatine may like her words, he has to have control of the Senate, and to have one person, against it, or if you take out this person, then it's going to really, really draw attention. Like, okay, what's going on? If we're all being picked off, something's going on here. You know what I mean? So he has to basically have calculation. It has to be calculated, so letting her have her peace. But at the same time, we know that there are seeds planted. They're planting people because they're, somewhat on to her, knowing that she's not really into what's actually happening. She's not into what's going on with the Empire at this point, and she's trying to make a statement. I just love, just Mon Mothma's story and what we're learning. Her husband's an asshole. And even when they basically called out, like, when even Vale found out about her working with her, classmate, or whatever, she's like, in a sense, like, are you sure it's not more than just this interaction? Did y'all smash? You know what I mean? Did he smash?
Well, I think that he's been putting up with Mon Mothma and her seriousness for a really long time, and he just wants to enjoy himself now. So I have to say, they're still together. They're not, separate. So, he's accepted her the way she is.
Do you think he smashed?
Have to accept him the way he is.
Do you think he smashed?
Oh, yes. Absolutely. Yeah, they're way too close. They are tight.
Man. Rita is on point. I love you so much. She said they're tight.
They are tight. Yes.
Yo, so he smashed at least one time and they're just not talking about it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yo, and she woke up and was mad he was gone.
She's mad at the simple fact that she's in this relationship, and like we talked about, which I didn't realize before, it was an arranged relationship between her and her husband. That's fucked up. Like literally, that is fucked up. Like when you think about it, it's like she had no say in the direction of what she wants to do. There, again, it's just like what we see in Game of Thrones, what we see in House of the Dragons. It's all arranged. Like it has to be this way. You know what I mean? So, wow.
Do you think that her husband is actually like in cahoots with either the Empire or something else, that he's actually got his own thing going on the side?
It could be. It could be because he's keeping a watchful eye, and I think there's seeds planted, and he's already managed to turn her daughter against her.
Yeah,
like,
I think there's something more to him.
Yeah, there is definitely more, to him than what they're letting on. You know what I mean? And it's definitely going to be something that's revealed eventually, but it's just like, I don't know, like right now for her, she's really on her own, like literally, like, like you mentioned before, Rita, when we see her basically on the Senate, like she's actually making a statement, trying to keep people on board. But again, all the lights are shutting out. They're turning out those lights. You know what I mean? No one's interested. It's a lot of it is because of the fear of the Empire. You know what I mean? And also some people who are on board. We're seeing that within the Senate, people are more so concerned about their own financial intentions, that they give two fucks about the people. You know what I mean? And again, they're on board with that. It's just like, we've heard this before. You align yourself with me, I'll keep your pockets rich. I'll keep your pockets fat.
We saw a little bit of this in Tales of the Jedi. There was
Yeah.
one episode where there was, I guess, kind of a rebel uprising. And when Dooku had learned, he says, "Why did you all do this?" And they said,
Yeah.
"Well, this senator has been living it up in Coruscant with Mon Mothma, or maybe not with Mon Mothma, but like living it up with with the Mothmas and everybody in Coruscant. And guess what's happened? He wants to like sell all of our planet off and doesn't care what happens." And I think that was very interesting to see that people have been fighting. They've been fighting back and won't allow them to do that. So there are fronts all over the galaxy, I guess, more or less.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And it's again, it's like I think we're going to see, because we're seeing her like this, but I think that we're going to also see eventually we're going to see strength. We're going to see her evolve. We're going to see strength where she's going to be like, okay, nah, enough is enough. I can't wait till she leaves her husband. I can't wait till she beats the shit out of her daughter, on that departure. That's not going to happen, but I can't wait to see that, because the thing is, and what I didn't realize that there is story, with her daughter. Her daughter actually does become, a very integral and interesting part of the rebellion, to be quite honest, eventually, when the older she gets. We also see her, in the books, in the lore, we see her meet up with her mother. Like, she actually meets her mother before her mother's death. She, at the end of like Mon Mothma's life, she's there with her. You know what I mean? So we see, in the books, in the lore, we actually see that. But I mean, right now we're just seeing that asshole of a daughter. But I like the way the story is being told. You gonna say something, Mara?
Yeah, I just got to dip. I gotta head out.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah, just got family things to attend to right now.
Got you,
but
brother.
yeah, man, just thanks for hosting tonight, man, and I'll hope to see you guys next week.
All right, definitely, man. We'll talk to you next week, bro.
Right.
Check
Good
you
night,
out
guys.
later on, man.
Bye,
All right, bro.
bro.
Peace out. But yeah, I'm definitely on board, man. Like, it's this show. What it's doing for me is it keeps me interested. You know what I mean? Like, it keeps me involved. You know what I mean? Because we're seeing, like you said at the very beginning, Vinny, it's mirroring. It's a mirror of what we are actually seeing historically, throughout our own history. And that's what they're doing, but they're not doing it to where it becomes like like it's a running narrative, or it's an agenda. They've been doing this. George Lucas has been telling these type of stories since the very beginning. That was the entire premise of him bringing in, the empire, or even the Nazis, the way we actually see it.
It's much more subtle here, I think.
Yeah, it's definitely
not so much
subtle.
that it's more subtle. It's that, all right, it's kind of like how when we were in school, we just seen, the Nazis marching and tanks and Hitler giving speeches, but we didn't see the logistics. We didn't see the way sausage was made, right? We didn't see the infrastructure. We didn't see the daily grind of the different things that was done to kind of like push what was going on in the propaganda. Like it was much, broader. It wasn't overnight. There were so many little things. So this is showing you how broad and how many different ways the empire has, its hooks in.
Yeah.
Man, this scene is fucking crazy.
Yeah, I know. Like, just and seeing, like, his name is Kinko, right? They call him Kink.
What's call it?
Hello, or something like that.
Kino. Yeah. So basically, Kino. The thing is, it's like, Andy Serkis plays. We're seeing a stripped down, like, Emmy Award winning performance from him, because he again is a believer. It's not that he believes in the empire, but he believes that they would play fair. That basically, when it comes time to leave, he's ready to go. Not knowing that once you reach that level, you're dying. You're not getting out of there. You know what I mean? There's no leaving. You know what I mean? And why would you let, if you know that you have a person who can eventually leave this place, but de facto they're going to tell everybody what's going on the inside, you got to keep them quiet. You know what I mean? And that's what we're actually seeing so far. I love the communication. You know what I mean? I love the simple fact that we're seeing, that level of communication between them, the inmates, how they use the language, and you're invested in it, and you feel so much sympathy for it, in the end. And I'm loving, that we're actually seeing it this way. It just brings so much, grab it. I mean, we already know he's an amazing actor, but like on this level, it's something spectacular, and it's so heart-wrenching when he basically watches a person's, like you said, Vinny, a person who he's admired and he wanted to see, reach that level of safety. We see him, turn at the end when, Andor was asking him, how many guards, and he was like, that's the way of thinking, you might as well just turn that off. But once his guy dies, you just see that anger in his face, and he was like, yeah.
You know what it is? It's like you have Cyril, which is like the dude in the message board every time there's somebody shot by a cop saying he should have complied, blah, blah, blah.
Mhm.
Then you have Andor, who's like, fucking like fuck the police. And you have Kino in the middle. Like, we don't know what happened before the tape.
Yeah.
You
Exactly.
know what I mean? And in this episode is him realizing, nah, there wasn't nothing, telling before the tape. That's just what it was.
Yeah.
And his eyes got open.
Yeah. He is open, and now they're wide. And I cannot wait to next episode, because we know that's going to be the breakout. That's going to be the escape. Yeah.
Andor leading up with, how many guards per level, how many guards per level. And Kino he doesn't want a part of rocking the boat. It's like, shut up, keep your head down, do the work, stop fucking playing around, Keem, or whatever the fuck his name is there. It's like, stop playing around, just do your job and you get out of here.
Mm-hmm.
The build up to that constantly, and then that payoff with how many, with Ulaf dying and realizing that, they're fucked. They got caught with their hand in a cookie jar. Somebody got released finally, but they just moved them to another part of the fucking prison.
Yep.
And then the word got out, and they had to kill everybody to keep it fucking quiet.
Yep.
And then the look on his face, the way it just, his whole demeanor just fucking shifts. And then one more time, how many guards per level?
Yep. That was
then
so dope.
Then those 4 words, never more than 12. And then cut right to black. And I'm like, this is so everybody, like, if you didn't lose your shit at that, I don't know what to tell you, because it don't get better.
Yeah.
It don't get better than that.
It don't get better than that, bro. Like, straight up. Here's the thing. When I watch this show, bro, there's 3 shows that I think that come to mind.
Mm.
Tell me if you agree, Vinny. Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Chernobyl.
Mm-hmm.
Peaky Blinders.
Yeah, for anyone out there who likes this type of dialogue in the show, Peaky Blinders
Blinders, bro.
Peaky Blinders is just the pinnacle of just dialogue. Dialogue. Yeah. Peaky Blinders is in the upper echelons of my favorite shows of all time. Yeah. And this show definitely is in that kind of echelon. And it's just very, very, very impactful, an incredible performance by Andy Serkis. And one of the amazing things about Andy in this show is somehow he's one of the most underrated actors of our generation, yet everybody loves him. How are both things true? Everybody loves him, yet he's underrated. And it just goes to show how big a ironic mistake or cruel odd twist of fate it is that for past 20-25 years he's been known as a CGI character actor. When he clearly is an amazing actor in and of itself, as of its own right.
It has so much range, bro.
And
so much range.
So much range. Just fucking in masterclass acting here. I was talking before the show, like I'm pissed he got killed off in Black Panther. I would have loved to see more Claw too.
Claw, yeah.
He was so great in that. I want to see him in just so much more stuff. I can't wait to see. The Heist was such an amazing arc. I loved it so much, and then now we have this just stellar prison escape arc.
And I think it like some amazing. Like everybody is saying, like, Rita, everybody's saying in the chat that they feel as though there's a possibility, because I see it here, like everybody's like, is there a possibility that he might sacrifice himself for everybody else?
Yeah, it's It's a good question. And I'm sorry, it's a really good question because all of a sudden this has become the most important character in the series.
Mm-hmm.
And we went from having a situation where it was more of a cool hand Luke approach, like where we're going to be the best darn ditch diggers ever,
Yeah.
they're not going to beat us. We're going to, I'm going to best everybody and I'm going to
Hell
get,
yeah. Yep.
and now we went from that to the Great Escape, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, it's like, it's these classic storylines that we're getting here, and it cannot work. It will not work without his help. This is the only chance Andor has to get the hell out of here. And the clock is ticking. They probably have about a day or two to get the hell out. They don't have a few weeks or till the clock ends, because the clock is never going to end. Things are going to go wrong. All hell's going to break loose in this prison. They're underwater. I think the water is what powers the place, maybe. The thing is, who on earth is going to pick them up? Some of them are going to make it out. Some of them are not. We already know Andor is. And we already know one other guy who's with them will make it out.
Yeah.
I also love Andor's like adaptation and leadership here. I mean, he's only been. I'm not sure how long he's been there at this point of this episode, but I imagine not more than a couple months or so. And he has Kino's respect, he has his crew's respect, and he's talking escape plans with members who aren't. He's talking escape plans with members who aren't even on his team. Yeah. So like he has friends all over that level.
Yeah.
Instantly. I mean,
because they know that they needed that level of leadership. They needed that level of somebody who just doesn't give two shits and is willing to do it and has no fear in doing it. And he's leading them. But at the same time, as much as he's, they're leaning on him, we also see that he's developing that level of team. Like he needs to have that team type of, where he develops how to work together with others instead of just working as an individual, because he hasn't been successful doing this shit by himself. And now he's understanding that. So the heist is what kind of groomed him for this, in a sense. You know what I mean? So
his 9 lives have run out, and now he can't get by anymore on luck and charm. Although I think he could probably get by on his looks, but it's not going to work with everybody where he is now. So certainly he needs help from everybody. He has to work in a team, at least to get his foot out the door.
Yeah. And that's what I cannot wait to next week's episode. I really can't. I cannot, because it's going to be like a 2-punch for me. Like it's just going to be, we got Wednesday is Andor, Thursday night Black Panther. It's just going to be a 2-shot for me, and I can't wait. I just can't wait for next week, man. It's again, everybody out there, man, y'all tell me what y'all think about this episode. Episode 9 was strictly amazing. Episode 10, I think what we're going to do, I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna find Beskar Kid's crib. I'm gonna go over there and watch it with him. I'm gonna go to the gym and watch it with him while he's doing leg day. I'm just gonna be like, yo, Beskar, like, you see this episode? He's gonna be like, come on, let me finish my reps. I'm like, nah, watch this real quick, man. Just watch this, like, straight up. So I can't wait. But everybody, man, thank you for being. He said all Andor has been amazing. Yeah, Beskar, definitely, man. Every episode to me has been on point. And it's because I guess I'm just more dialogue driven. I can care, like right now, we get the action, but I want the dialogue. I want the character build. I want to follow these characters. And like if any of you said, like if in like Peaky Blinders, like with the very first episode, I was like, wait a minute. I'm watching it and I'm like, and then the second episode, I'm like, yo, this shit is fucking. And then when you watching it, you follow these characters, and it there's so many episodes. It's like, yo, what the fuck? Like, yo, you just get.
I could watch Tommy just talking to somebody in a bar
and that's
for
it.
60 minutes.
Yeah,
that's all I need.
And that's it. And that's what I'm getting from here. That's what I'm getting all that from here. So I'm so excited about it. Renzi's like one of my favorite episodes of the season. Definitely, Renz. I'm telling you, bro. It is what it is. It's just so exciting. I can't wait to next episode. Everybody out there, tell me what y'all think. What do you got coming up on Positive Fandom? What you got going on right now?
I have obviously my Sunday brunch show on Sundays at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, guys. For my Sunday brunch show, please do come and check that out. It's live Obviously, if you are a creator and you have something to promote, do come onto the show. I also am doing some watch parties. The Crown season 5 is going to be coming out next week. So definitely please check out Positive Fandom. I'm going to be doing a watch party for all 10 episodes of The Crown, guys. And this is the most controversial year of them all. Certainly do check that out if you are a fan. And of course, you guys can check me out on the PGS on Monday nights for Ladies of the PGS at 6 p.m. Eastern. You can find me here on the 1/6 Scale Man Network on either Say What or Uncivilized Scoundrels. I also stream with Lorena Creole on Thursdays on her Twitch channel for our show Toxic Male Appreciation. And Fridays, you can catch me on Midnight's Edge in the morning at 12 p.m. with Tom and Andre, and always on the PGS with Lael on our show Midnight Music, guys. So please do check out Positive Fandom. Subscribe to the channel. I'm losing my mind. Subscribe to the channel, please. Everybody, thank you so much for your support with everything. It's such a great night to be here talking about Star Wars. I love doing this show. It's so good. This is such a great time.
Hell yeah. It's a great time to be a Star Wars fan. And I'm just so excited about this show. I love it. Something I've been wanting, and I knew it was going to be a sleeper. And I'm so happy that it came along and just satisfied me so far. I'm just loving it. Vinny, what's going on, man? What we can expect from you for Vincent Dunn art, man? I mean, I know you just came off of Inktober, bro.
Yes.
What we got going on for November, man?
So I have a bunch of people who wanted different prints from Inktober, so I'll be getting those prints ready for everybody. There's a few people who actually wanted some of them as shirts and like hoodies and stuff like that, so I'm going to be working on getting all that kind of stuff together. I might try to get something done for Black Panther before next week. But I'm super excited that, again, of course, like we just talked about, we got Andor, Black Panther 1-2 punch next week. That's super exciting. I am through the moon excited for Black Panther just to see what the fuck they do. And I know that regardless of the context with any of the controversial issues, I know that Coogler is going to give us an amazing looking film at the very least. So I'm excited for that. It's probably going to be very emotional. So I'm definitely excited for Black Panther. Absolutely hooked on what's going to happen on the prison heist or prison escape, or set up to the prison escape next week. I also love the fact that we'll be viewing episode 10 of a streaming show on Disney Plus, where we've been capped at 6 for so many different shows. So it's awesome that we're going into 10 and still have 3 more to go. It's amazing. It's amazing. We're definitely spoiled right now. And again, it's like there's shit for everyone, man. We got Tales on the back end of it. We got Mando and Ahsoka coming right after that. So it's like, all right, if this one wasn't for you, Mando will be. If Mando wasn't your jam, Ahsoka will be. It's like there's something for everybody out there. That's what it's all about. That's what the streaming service is going to provide for people. It gives everybody so many options. It's like, I mean, they might not know how to get their ass together to make a movie, but at least we got plenty of TV to watch. So
hell yeah.
So I got more art projects coming aside from Black Panther. There's a whole bunch of stuff that I've had on the back burner while I burned through Inktober. So I'm excited to dig into that and just enjoying an extra little bit of free time with the season lightening up. So we'll be talking about all this and more on Comic Book Talk with Friends on Monday. Uncivilized Scoundrels whenever we get back to talking about the next episode on this show. So I'm excited to be a part of it, man. Good time to be a geek.
Hell yeah, it's definitely a good time to be a geek. If you haven't already, follow Vincent Dunn Art on Instagram, and there's also the link to his store as well, where you can get some amazing prints. Definitely.
Thanks,
and you can become a fan of his work. So definitely, everybody, make sure that you come through. That's what I'm saying. That's the one thing I didn't hear at Comic-Con. That's what I'm saying. But anyway, we'll get there next time.
That wasn't one of the Dipset moments. You just did.
Yeah, right.
I had some booty on my shoulders as it was muffled.
Yo, that video. It was crazy. That's funny. But definitely, man, if you haven't already, become a member of the 1/6 Scale Man channel. It's 1/6 Scale Man YouTube channel, Twitter and Instagram. I don't know how much longer I'm going to be on Twitter, but that's, let to be seen. But anyway, you know what I mean? I'm so excited about what we got coming. Tomorrow is Figure Flex Friday. We got Collectors Lounge International on Sunday. So, and Comic Book Talk with Friends on Monday. That's going to be interesting. Definitely back here on Say What Wednesdays. And then we have, again, back for the next episode. Ooh, wait a minute. Maybe we won't be here next week. Black Panther. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
So we won't be back here next week. We'll actually have to do a double episode the following week.
Okay.
That's right. Yeah. So we'll do a double episode the following week for Andor. We'll talk about, and that makes more content. So we'll dive into that. So we won't be back here for Uncivilized, because I know for a fact that if I go into this movie next week and I watch it, because I'm going to be seeing it. I think I'm seeing it. Black Panther, I'm scheduled to see at least 4 or 5 times next weekend. So definitely,
twice,
yeah. So I cannot wait for it. So anyway, not next weekend, but we will be back the following weekend to talk about episodes of Andor, both episodes, episode 9 and 10. So stay tuned for that. Again, thank you so much for basically being here. It's been a blast as always. Mario, CC, hope everything works out. CC, we poured something out for you. We can't wait to see you next week. We know and actually the week after. And we know we'll definitely have that conversation about the show. So again, thank you guys. It's been a pleasure. Again, as always, go to the dark side, stay uncivilized as always, and just keep it moving. We love y'all. Until next week. May the force be with you. Peace out. We out.
So uncivilized.